Hello, BookTube. Once again, we have the sexy backlighting. I'm hoping that it's not quite as bad. It's kind of side lighting this time around. we still have the wonderful Holbein portrait of Erasmus, and we have round things on the walls in honor of my position as a Time Lord. And I am still fiddling around with filming locations for the height of summer, for when summer comes. For filming locations just in general. Here at Hyde Cottage, my goal, is for everything that isn't a bookcase to be modular, to be something that can be instantly broken down and shipped out of its place and put into some other use somewhere else. No cul-de-sacs, I'm hoping. So that should mean a variety of filming locations and angles. And in the meantime, despite the comments from some of you, you're not here to see my face, right? You're here to see books. In particular today, one book. I have a one book mail haul. It's a box. It showed up on the doorstep, and I thought we'd see what it is. It doesn't have to be a huge mail haul, right? It was a huge mail haul yesterday. We've done one book mail hauls before, and boxes are inherently interesting. I will save this box because I have quite a few things to mail out to quite a few people. I don't know when that's going to happen. Here, let's get the label off this right now, because here in America, those of you who don't live here, it might be different for you, but here in America, you cannot repurpose a box for use in mailing, to mail out something else if it has a barcode or another address on it. So you have to sort of strip it bare. So I did, because I can definitely repurpose this box. But this was out on the front porch, and it was not a death sentence to go out there and look for it, because it's beautiful today. Yesterday was beautiful for me, but not for anything else that's alive. It was boiling hot and sulkingly humid. Just not the worst day, not the worst combination of those two things that this summer will throw at us, but pretty bad. For anybody who wasn't me, I loved it. I loved it. But then, you get to the peak of the day, the sun goes down behind the horizon, or in my case, a row of new ugly condominiums, and then everything starts to radiate the day's heat. And that makes it worse. There's an hour-long period where it feels worse, even though the sun's gone down, and it shouldn't. And it just didn't let up all night long. Frida was, I moved the show onto the bed here so that I could read for 6 or 7 hours. Turned out to be 10 hours. and I brought, Frida came in too. She doesn't want to be away from me for any length of time. And she was just miserable for hours. Just miserable. There's nothing I could do about it. I had an electric fan on, but I don't have AC units put in yet. I'm not able to do that myself, so I'm going to have to look into that. But in the meantime, I get the mother of all reprieves, because as promised, for once, the weather forecasts were entirely right. The weather completely changed. By morning, the weather completely changed and is now drier, a cool breeze, warm air, but not hot, just delightful. So this was not hard to go and get. So let's see what we have here. Let's see what somebody put in a box just for me. And let's hope that it's not from one of you, because we have too many presents coming here at Hyde Cottage. Okay. No, it isn't. It isn't from one of you. What is this? Is this some sort of YA novel? Oh no, I think we saw this. We've seen this already. This is the finished copy of Benjamin Rosenbaum's The Unraveling. See, you can see the book just fine. You don't need to see me. In a society where biotechnology has revolutionized gender, young FIFT must decide whether to conform or carve a new path. In the distant future, somewhere in the galaxy, a world has evolved where each person has multiple bodies. Cybernetics has abolished privacy, and individual and family success are reliant upon instantaneous evaluations of how well each member conforms to the rigid social system. You don't have to go to a distant galaxy. A lot of that is true right now. Your phone knows everything there is to know about you. I noticed this when I was vacationing up in Vermont. I've noticed this repeatedly for months, that the things that you shop for, the things you shop for online, the things that you talk about, get funneled into ads to you we've all grown accustomed to the kind of skin-creeping feeling that somewhere out there, someone is listening to everything we say. It's one of the other reasons why I so strongly recommend keeping a private journal, a handwritten journal in a notebook. Young Fifth is an only child of the staid gender, S-T-A-I-D. I think we saw this before. But let's go it again for the people who missed it the first time. I do make a few videos, after all. Struggling to maintain Z-I-R, so not his, not her, position in the system while developing a friendship with the acclaimed bioengineer Shreya. A controversial and intriguing friendship since Shreya is Veil gendered, V-A-I-L. Soon, Fifth and Shreya unintentionally wind up at the center of a scandalous art spectacle which turns into a multi-layered unraveling of society. Fifth is torn between Zir attraction to Shreya and the safety of Zir family, between staying true to Zir feelings and social compliance. When Zir personal crisis, so it's possessive as well, crises suddenly take on global significance, what's a young staid to do when the whole world is watching? Okay, and I think I mentioned that the author has been nominated for many awards, Hugo, Nebula, Sturgeon, World Fantasy Awards. He's the author of the short story collection, The Ant King and Other Stories, and he is originally from Arlington, Virginia, and lives near Basel with his wife and children. So we shall see. This is due soon, I assume. Do we have a date for this? I'm getting a finished copy, so I'm assuming. Yeah, June 8th, so this has already happened. And I've had the advanced copy. I haven't got to it. All of my timelines have been disrupted by going away, by going on vacation. But boy, oh boy, did it feel good. I'm in that decompressing period now where you're missing all the great parts of your long vacation. For those of you who are catching up late, Frida and I have been vacationing at the home of Mark Richardson Reeds up in Vermont for a couple of weeks. We went up there. And I'm in the point now of decompressing where we're remembering all the stuff we really liked, and you're getting pinged with all the stuff here that you don't like. And it takes, for me anyway, it takes a while for the stuff that you do like back home to start coming back to you, because all the stuff that you are without is foremost in your mind. So I've been a little bit distracted, but I have to get back to this. And we shall see. We shall see what the unraveling does. I am considerably more comfortable with this sort of thing if it's science fiction. This is a science fiction author. And I'm considerably more comfortable with it than I am. I'm sure that comfort won't last long in the actual reading of this book. I'm considerably more comfortable with this in a science fiction setting than I am with someone in the real world telling me that babies aren't born with sexes. That's an imposition that's done by a gross male doctor, by a cishet white man who essentially sentences them to slavery by giving them a sex or a gender or a preference or whatever. When that is not true, of course. The number of biological beings in the world, much less higher order mammals, that are born what I think the phrase is non-binary, is virtually none. That is biological life, that is genetics, that is Darwinian evolution, manifestly, dramatically failing. So it doesn't happen, effectively. And all the people, certainly everyone that I've ever met who calls themselves quote-unquote non-binary, is one sex or another, and there are only two. but that gets a little bit wearying. It gets a little bit wearying to hear. It's part and parcel. It's not the only part, but it's part and parcel of the 21st century's incredibly dangerous flirtation with making up your own facts, with living in your own reality. Not in the sense of wanting to be the change you want to see in the world, but living in your own reality the way my generation used to say it 50 years ago when we were talking about crazy people. We were talking about people who were crazy, people who looked out with their eyes at everything around them and literally saw a different reality from the real one. The 21st century has made that into a hobby. It's no longer an anomaly. It's a hobby. People who are effectively constructing their own realities every day are everywhere. You can't get away from them for a minute, and that's a little bit wearying. but if it's a science fiction story, then it will take its place in a woefully short, but still robust tradition of science fiction exploring questions of sex and gender and whatnot. Ursula Le Guin was doing it 40 or 50 years ago brilliantly, and it has been done brilliantly in succeeding years. And it raises interesting questions, not about physical reality, but about personal preference. It raises interesting questions about tolerance, about avoiding discrimination, of course. If a person, for instance, who is biologically male believes completely that he would be more comfortable as a biological female, living as one, being treated as one, maybe even presenting as one, but maybe even conforming as one, maybe undergoing chemical and even surgery, well, that's an enormous decision. And if that person is 100% sure, and if they're looking at that decision and, with a completely balanced judgment, the help of friends and family and whatnot, it's in a way no different a decision than any other life-altering decision where the only person involved is the person deciding. They deserve every bit of respect and also support. And they certainly should not be discriminated against at all, right? I mean, that's just a personal decision. That affects nobody whatsoever. And if it's going to conform to a personal level of comfort that you, untroubled in your sex, don't feel, well, it's really nobody's place to trouble that. It's really nobody's place to say, oh no, that's against some sort of order, especially when, and let's be honest here, it always boils down to the order being Christianity. It always does. Nobody cares about this stuff one way or another, except that it boils down to bothering Christianity, to bugging Christianity, to going against some version of what somebody thinks Christianity wants. In this case, probably we would go all the way back to the book of Genesis. Male and female, he created them. But one way or another, seeing it explored in a science fiction setting, where the author is free to rewrite the rules of reality. Authors, right now, in nonfiction, in the nonfiction 21st century market, authors are rewriting reality all the time, saying that many authors that I have read in the last 5 years, when it seems to have gone virulent and really gone out of control, I've read many authors who say that the bits between your legs don't determine anything, or that male and female humans are exactly the same except for those bits between the legs. Patent nonsense, all of it. Not just that it goes against 150,000 years of observed reality. We all know that is not true. We all know that is not true. But also that it goes against 400 years of completely settled science. There is no such thing. Anyway, well, you got one book, you get one rant. This is our book for today, The Unraveling. It looks like YA, and it doesn't seem to be marketed as YA unless Erewhon is the publisher. And I don't know if they are. It doesn't mention it anywhere on the sell sheet, but certainly the plot sounds like YA, right? Where it's all about a relationship. It's all about a young relationship, and there's usually in YA, in the template used in the 21st century, it's not only all about a relationship, everything about a relationship, the whole society, all of the universe revolving around what happens in one young person relationship, but also that usually in that template, one of the two people is somehow more prominent than the other, somehow has a bit more clout, a bit more fame than the other. It sounds like that's true in this case as well. So all of the tumblers look this to be YA. So we shall see. We shall see if it reads that way. If it reads with the requisite navel-gazing and hysteria that comes with 21st century YA. We shall see. But in the meantime, that's your mail haul for today. I'm pretty sure that more mail is coming. But I'm going to make a batch of videos. I'm going to take Frida for a little walk, and then I'm going to work for a good long time, and at least until sunset. So no more. I'm not going to. I'll save that mail and we'll do it tomorrow. But in the meantime, that's it for the mail. I've got a bunch of other videos, other things to talk to you about. But so I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.